The night side of the planet Ilthar 5 was calm. The blue-green world turned slowly beneath a thin ring of silver light. High above, in orbit, a Concord patrol station floated like a small pearl. Inside the station, rows of screens glowed and the hum of sensors filled the air. Mira sat at her post, scanning for anything unusual. It was her 5th year as an observer, and usually the shifts were slow. She liked to watch the stars when her tasks were light. Each bright point on the screen was a system she had read about in school, a place where traders and explorers moved under the rules of the galactic Concord. This system was quiet. Only freighters and small research ships came through. That was why the sudden alarm startled her so badly. A red light blinked on her console. The sound was soft but urgent. Mira tapped the key to expand the sensor data. A huge object had appeared at the edge of the system, far beyond the normal lanes. It was moving fast, but its drive signature was unknown. She checked the code list twice. Nothing matched. "Control, this is Mira at Scan Bay 3, she said, keeping her voice steady. "We have an unscheduled entry. Large mass, unregistered drive." Her supervisor, Ral, walked over quickly. He was older, with pale skin and calm eyes, and had seen many odd things. He leaned over her shoulder and stared at the readings. The screen showed a black shape gliding through the void. It was long and heavy, with faint lines of light running along its hull. "Zoom in," Ral said. Mira did. The image sharpened. The ship was unlike any Concorde design. It had armor plates like layered scales. No visible markings, no Concorde transponder. The automatic systems tried to classify it but failed. "It came out of folded space at a point we don't monitor," Mira said. "And it did not broadcast an arrival code." Ral frowned. "Send it a standard greeting and warning. Priority level 3. Mira typed the message. Her console showed it sent. They waited. No answer came back. The ship kept moving, its path a straight line toward the inner system. In the command hall, the low murmur of officers began to rise. Other scan bays were picking up the same image. More staff crowded around Mira's station, whispering. Some of them looked excited, others afraid. A ship this size had never come through this region. "It is not slowing," Mira said softly. Ral straightened. "It must have a reason. Let us try again." He authorized a second hail, stronger and in several languages. Still nothing. Outside the station, in the dark between stars, the vessel moved like a silent predator. It emitted no radio noise except a low hum at the edge of the spectrum, something the sensors barely caught. Mira shivered even though the station's air was warm. Reports from the other outposts began to arrive. Small defense platforms had powered up their shields. Interceptor pilots were told to stand by. The system had not seen combat for a century, but the memory of war still lived in the Concorde's rules. Mira watched the path prediction scroll across her screen. The unknown ship was heading straight toward Sector 7, a restricted area near the moon of Ilthar 5. She did not know why that zone was restricted. Few people did. Ral spoke quietly to her. "Keep your focus, Mira. If this is a traitor, we do not want to alarm them. If it is not, we must know before command decides." She nodded. Her hands trembled slightly, but she kept working. She ran a deep scan. The readings returned strange. The ship had a core of dense metal unknown to the Concorde. Its power signature was like a star compressed into a cage. It could be a new type of freighter, but its mass was closer to a battleship. The hall behind her buzzed louder. Senior officers were arriving. Screens flickered with maps of the system, showing defense lines. The calm of the shift was gone. A young technician at the next console spoke out. "No ship can move that fast without fold engines showing." Another whispered back. "Maybe it hides them." Maybe it is a ghost. Mira did not join the whispers. She kept her eyes on the readings. The black vessel grew larger on her screen. She felt as if it was looking back at her, even though it gave no sign of life. A small message suddenly appeared on her console. It was not from Concord Command. It was from the ship itself. Just 4 words, plain and simple: "Do not interfere." She felt her breath catch. She looked at Ral. He had read it too. Around them the staff fell silent. "That is all it says?" one officer asked. "Yes," Mira replied. Ral took a deep breath. "Forward this to Central Command, all of it." Every image, every scan. Mira did so. She could feel her heart pounding. Whoever or whatever was on that ship knew they were watching, and it did not care. Outside, the black warship glided past the outer defense markers. No weapon ports open, no shields flared. It simply kept moving toward the heart of the system. Mira whispered, "What are you?" But no answer came. In the command hall, decisions began to form. Should they send interceptors? Should they open fire? The Conquered had laws for such events, but no one had expected to face a ship like this. Ral placed a hand on Mira's shoulder, steady but firm. "Stay calm. This is only the beginning. Watch and record. The council will decide." Mira nodded again. She watched the dark shape crawl across the stars. For the first time in her career, she felt small, like a child staring at a storm on the horizon. The unauthorized ship was not just large. It felt alive, purposeful, unstoppable. The station lights dimmed for a moment as power was diverted to the defense grid. Across the system, alarms spread. Pilots strapped into their craft. Civilians were told to remain in shelters, and still the ship came on, silent and sure, a shadow from an unknown past sliding into the heart of the Conquered's peace. The black vessel moved deeper into the Conquered system, its huge hull sliding between the stars like a piece of night itself. From the orbital station, Mira watched every movement. The screens in front of her filled with sensor data, but nothing gave a clear answer. It was as if the ship was wrapped in a veil of secrecy. Inside the command hall, voices rose and fell. The senior officers had gathered around the central table, their faces tight with worry. Ral stood near Mira, calm but pale. He had served for decades and had never seen a situation like this. The Conquered had rules for first contact. When a ship arrived unannounced, the local authority had to send greetings and warnings. If the ship failed to respond, a small escort would be sent to approach and gather more information. If the ship showed signs of hostility, heavier forces would be called. All of this was written in clear code. But this situation felt beyond code. Ral gave a short command. "Send the full greeting packet again, all languages, all channels." Mira's fingers moved across the console. The message burst out from the station in a bright pulse of energy, spreading across the system. It contained a welcome, a request for identification, and a warning that the Concord protected this space. Everyone waited. Seconds stretched. No answer came back. Mira leaned closer to the screen. "Signal received, but no reply," she said quietly. Ral nodded once. As expected, the hall grew louder. Officers spoke in quick voices, suggesting options. Some wanted to call the fleet at once. Others argued that the ship might be lost or damaged. A few said nothing at all, watching the black vessel with the same uneasy fascination that Mira felt. Outside, the unknown ship continued its path. Its engines left no bright trail. Its shields gave no glow. It was like a stone skipping across dark water. The defense network came alive. Small satellites turned their sensors toward the ship. Automated guns powered up but did not fire. In the hangar bays of the station, interceptor pilots prepared their craft. Their sleek ships could move fast, but against something so massive they would be like insects against a mountain. Ral spoke again, his voice firm. "We will follow the rules. Launch 2 interceptors on a close pass. They are not to engage. They are only to observe." The order was relayed. Mira's screen showed 2 small dots detaching from the station, engines burning bright. They raced across the void, closing the gap to the black vessel. Everyone watched. The interceptors sent back clear images. The dark hull with its layered plates, the faint lines of light running along its length, and the massive gun ports sealed shut. It looked asleep, but Mira sensed it was awake. Then, without warning, the images cut off. "Lost signal," the technician at the next console said. His voice shook. "Both interceptors, try again," Ral ordered. They tried. No response. No beacon, no debris, nothing. The interceptors had simply vanished from their feeds. The hall fell silent. Even the hum of machines seemed softer. Mira stared at her screen. Her hands felt cold. It did not fire. There was no flash, no impact, she whispered. Ral's jaw tightened. "We have our answer. It is not a traitor." On the large central screen, the black ship kept moving. Its speed did not change. Its course did not bend. It was as if the loss of the interceptors had meant nothing to it. A young officer turned to Ral. "We must warn the planet. We must call the fleet." Ral lifted his hand for silence. "We will warn them, but we will not panic. The ship has power we do not understand. We must learn why it is here." Mira opened a fresh channel to the ship. She typed a simple message, her fingers stiff. You have entered conquered space without permission. Please identify yourself. She sent it and waited. For a moment there was nothing. Then her screen flickered. A new message appeared. It was the same as before. Do not interfere, she read it aloud. The hall filled with murmurs again. One of the senior officers spoke up. It is a threat. Another said, or a warning. Raoul looked at Mira. Is there anything hidden in the signal? She shook her head. No code, no trace. Just the words. He thought for a moment, then said, Send it to Central Command. They must see everything. She did so. Across the system, other stations were sending similar reports. Civilian traffic was being rerouted. Defense ships were gathering near the inner planets. Mira kept her eyes on the ship. She felt as if it was drawing nearer, not just in distance but in presence. It was no longer a shape on a screen. It was a force pressing on her mind. She glanced at the path prediction again. The black vessel was still heading toward the restricted zone near the moon. She wanted to ask Raoul what was hidden there, but she knew he would not answer. Few people even dared to mention that sector. A small tremor passed through the station as shields were raised to full power. Pilots strapped into their craft. Officers prepared emergency plans. In the cities below, ordinary people went about their lives unaware that a legend was moving toward them. Raoul stood straight, his hands clasped behind his back. We will hold position, he said. No fire unless ordered. Mira nodded but kept thinking. She wondered if the ship had a crew. She wondered if someone was watching her from inside that dark hull. She wondered if it was alive. The screens flickered once more. A low hum crept into the sensors, a sound just on the edge of hearing. It was not an engine noise. It was more like a heartbeat. Mira felt it in her chest. She looked at Raoul. He was listening too. Around them, the hull grew still. The unknown warship passed another defense line without slowing. No weapon ports opened. No shields flared. It moved like a being with a purpose, silent and unstoppable, deeper into the heart of the Concord system. The black warship moved past the second defense ring as if it did not exist. On every screen in the orbital station, the image of the dark hull grew larger. Its lines of dim light pulsed slowly, like the breath of some giant creature. It ignored every call, every warning, and every threat. Inside the command hall, the atmosphere had changed. Before, there had been murmurs and quiet voices. Now there was open shouting. Officers argued over each other. Hands waved. Some wanted to launch all fighters at once. Others begged to hold back. The rules of the Concord seemed weak in the face of something like this. Mira sat at her console, her back straight but her stomach tight. She tried to block out the noise and focus on her scans. Her screen showed not only the warship, but also the rising pattern of defense ships gathering near the inner planet. Dozens of small icons formed a wall. She knew it would not matter if this ship was as powerful as it appeared. Raoul stood near the center table, speaking in a firm voice, trying to keep order. We must remain calm. We will not act without instruction from the council. An older officer turned toward him. If we wait, the ship will be at the restricted zone before the council even speaks. We cannot allow that. Raoul's eyes narrowed. We cannot win a fight we do not understand. Mira's console chimed. She opened a new scan report. The warship was emitting a strange field that bent some of the station's sensors. It was not a weapon, not exactly. It was more like a cloak hiding its inner parts. She tapped for a deeper reading, but got nothing. Another technician spoke up from across the hall. Public channels are filling with rumors. Civilian traffic wants to know what is happening. Keep them clear, Raoul ordered. No details yet. Just say we are monitoring a passing vessel. Mira looked at him. They will see it soon. It is too big to hide, Raoul nodded slowly. Yes, but panic will not help. She turned back to her screen. The ship's path led straight to the moon Ilthar 5b. Around that moon lay the restricted sector. No civilian ship was allowed within 100 kilometers. It was supposed to be a deep storage area, nothing more. But Mira had always suspected there was more to it. Now her suspicion felt like a weight on her chest. In the far corner of the hall, a small group of officers whispered. Mira caught pieces of their words. Sealed station. Old project and not supposed to exist. She felt a chill. Suddenly, the large central screen flashed. A new message from the black warship appeared, same as before. We will collect what is ours. The words hung in the air like a cold wind. The older officer slammed his fist on the table. This is an invasion. We must strike first. Another voice, softer but sharper, said, or it is justice. We should ask what is ours. Ral looked at the screen, then at the hall. Who here knows what is stored in the restricted sector? He asked. Silence. No one answered. Some looked away. Mira's heart raced. She wanted to ask too, but she kept quiet. She had seen enough in her years to know that some secrets were dangerous. Ral turned back to her. Send another message. Ask for peaceful contact. Offer a meeting. She typed quickly. This is the Concord. We request a meeting to discuss your purpose. She sent it and watched. Seconds passed. The warship gave no reply. Outside, the ship crossed the orbit of Ilthar 5A and moved closer to the moon. Defense ships shifted into a new formation, forming a dense grid. Their commanders were ready. In the hall, the tension snapped. The council's voice came through the main speaker, cold and high. Station Command, this is the council. You are authorized to hold the line. The restricted sector must not be breached. Launch full defense if the vessel does not stop. Ral lowered his head for a moment. Then he straightened. Understood. Mira's hands felt heavy. She watched as orders flew across her screen. Pilots strapped in. Missiles armed. Shields charged. The whole system was about to explode into action. She whispered to herself, it does not want war. Ral heard her. You believe that? She nodded. It has not fired. It has only warned. If it wanted to destroy us, it could have. Ral gave her a long look but said nothing. The first line of defense ships spread out. Their bright engines formed a glowing arc between the warship and the moon. Each ship powered its weapons but held fire. In the command hall, the lights dimmed slightly as energy was rerouted to shield systems. The air felt heavy. Mira stared at the black shape on her screen. She felt as if it was staring back. She wondered who commanded it. Was it an artificial mind? A single pilot? A crew? She wanted to know, but the answers stayed locked inside the dark hull. A quiet alarm sounded. The warship had reached the edge of the restricted zone. Its speed remained steady. Its course did not change. Prepare to fire, the older officer said. Ral raised a hand. Wait. The hall was silent again, every eye on the screens. The warship moved closer to the defense grid. Then something strange happened. All the small defense drones floating near the grid powered down by themselves. Their lights went dark, their engines cut. One by one they drifted like stones. Mira gasped. It is disabling our systems without touching them. Ral's face tightened. This is no simple ship. The warship kept moving. Its message remained on the screen. We will collect what is ours. Mira pressed her palms to the edge of her console. She could feel the whole station holding its breath. The black vessel was now inside the line that no one was supposed to cross, heading toward a secret only the highest leaders understood. And for the first time in her career, Mira realized that the Concord might be powerless. The dark warship slowed as it neared the moon Ilthar 5B. It did not stop, but its engines softened to a low pulse that echoed across every scanner in the Concord system. Inside the orbital station, all eyes were on the main screen. The ship filled half the display now, its layered armor glowing faintly with lines of hidden power. Mira sat at her console. Her heart beat fast, but her hand stayed steady. She had been searching for answers since the first signal appeared. Now deep inside the station's archive, she thought she had found one. Ral came to stand behind her. His voice was low. You have been digging again. Yes, she said. I have been looking through old restricted files. Something about this ship feels familiar. Ral gave a short nod. Show me. Mira opened the file. It was an old Concord intelligence report, its edges blurred with age. At the top was a name, Project Arcspear. The word sent a shiver down her arms. It was a Terran warship, she said quietly. Built at the end of the Terran defensive wars 100 standard years ago. It vanished before it could be tested. Ral's eyes narrowed. That project was sealed. Only rumors remained. Mira scrolled through the file. Images appeared. Grainy pictures of a black hull with layered armor, almost identical to the ship now moving through the system. Notes filled the margins. Autonomous systems, self-repairing hull, unknown energy core. The Concord called it a lost experiment, Mira continued. But maybe it was never lost. Maybe it escaped. The hall behind them buzzed with tension. Officers were relaying orders. Defense ships moving into new formations. The council demanded the restricted sector remain sealed. No one spoke about why. Mira read further. The last line of the report showed a name attached to Arcspear, Commander Dan Hale. Her breath caught. It had a human commander, she whispered. Raoul leaned closer. Alive after 100 years? Cryosuspension. Or something else, Mira said. I don't know. But the pattern fits. This ship is Arcspear. As if to confirm her words, the dark vessel sent a new signal. Not just text this time, but a voice. It came through every speaker in the station, calm and deep. This is Commander Dan of the Arcspear. I am here to retrieve what belongs to humanity. Do not interfere. The hall went silent. Even the machines seemed to hold their hum. A young officer whispered, It speaks. Mira's hands trembled. She had guessed, but hearing the voice made it real. A human voice from a ship lost for a century. Raoul looked at the screen. Commander Dan, this is the Concord Station Ilthar 5 command. You have entered restricted space. Explain your purpose. There was a pause. Then the voice returned. Your government has held humans and allies in secret laboratories on this moon. They were taken without consent. I am here to bring them home. Gasps moved through the hall. Some officers looked shocked, others guilty. Mira's mind raced. The restricted sector was not just a storage yard. It was a hidden prison. Raoul's voice stayed firm. These are serious claims. The Conquered denies such actions. The voice of Dan did not change. Then you will have no reason to stop me. The channel closed. Mira stared at her screen. She felt a strange pull, fear, but also something like pride. A single human had come alone across the stars to rescue others. No fleet, no allies, just one ship and a purpose. The Council's signal flashed again on the main display. Station Command. Under no circumstances may that vessel reach the surface of Ilthar 5B. Engage if necessary. Raoul closed his eyes for a moment. He looked older, heavier. Understood, he said. Mira whispered, If we attack, he will disable us like the interceptors. Raoul said quietly, Perhaps. But orders are orders, she looked at him. We could talk to him. We could tell him we are not all part of this secret. Raoul met her eyes. If you can open a direct channel, do it. Her fingers flew over the console. She sent a private signal on an unused band. A moment later, a voice answered. Mira of the Concord, Dan said. You are brave to speak alone. I need to understand, she said. You are human? From Earth? Yes, he replied. I was born on Earth. I served in the last war. When the Arcspear disappeared, I made a promise to those taken. I would find them. Even if it took a century. His voice was calm, almost gentle but full of iron. Mira listened in silence. They will kill you if you try to land, she said at last. They can try, he said, but I am not here to kill. I am here to rescue. The channel ended. Mira sat back. Her heart pounded. She turned to Raoul. He does not want war. Raoul nodded slowly. Then perhaps there is still a chance. Outside the station, the Arcspear moved closer to the moon. Defense ships shifted again, their weapons ready but silent. The black hull glimmered faintly, a ghost from an old war come back to life. In the command hall, officers argued over tactics. Some called Dan a criminal. Others called him a hero. Mira watched the screen, torn between duty and admiration. She thought of the hidden prisoners on the moon below. If the Concord truly had done this, then the Arcspear was not an invader but a liberator. The warship slowed again, as if waiting for something. Its lights pulsed once, twice like a heartbeat. The station sensors shivered under the strange energy. Mira whispered, He is giving them one last chance. Raoul placed a hand on her shoulder. Or us, he said. Above the quiet moon, the human warship hung like a shadow, ready to move. The alien council chamber was silent when Mira and the 3 envoys from the other worlds arrived. Each envoy represented a species that had once feared humans, yet now they came not as enemies but as potential partners. Mira stood at the center with calm eyes, her presence strangely steady for someone so far from her own people. Across the chamber, High Commander Rin watched her closely. He had seen how the warship responded to Mira's voice, how its movements changed from aggressive to controlled when she gave simple instructions. It was impossible to deny that she was a key to understanding the ship. He also noticed that the other species looked at her with a mix of curiosity and caution. The warship was still in orbit, silent but glowing with energy. its shields raised like a waiting beast. Rin spoke first. "We have studied your vessel, Mira. It is unlike anything in our records. Its weapons are strong enough to destroy entire fleets, yet it is not fired without cause. Tell us why." Mira drew a slow breath. "Because it was built to defend, not to conquer. Humans learned long ago that power without purpose is dangerous. This ship listens to me because my voice carries an authorization from its creators. It will not harm unless attacked." An envoy from the water world Norris flicked his finned fingers and leaned forward. "And yet it entered our system without warning. How do we trust what you say?" Mira's answer was steady. "By letting me prove it. I ask permission to bring you aboard the warship. You can see its systems with your own eyes. It will not attack you under my command. If it does, you may end me right here." Her words sent a ripple of unease through the chamber, but also a spark of respect. The insectoid envoy from Yetran clicked its mandibles. "Your offer is bold. Perhaps too bold. But if you speak true, then we must know. Our people cannot live in fear of a shadow above our skies," Rin considered. He had spent years defending his world, never trusting outsiders, yet this human spoke not like an invader, but like someone trying to prevent disaster. "If you deceive us," he said slowly, "no shield will protect you." "I understand," Mira replied. "But I will not deceive you," they agreed. A small delegation would board the warship under Mira's guidance. The decision spread quickly across the system. Citizens watched the sky and whispered about the upcoming meeting, unsure whether it meant salvation or doom. Hours later, a sleek transport carried Mira, Rin, and the envoys toward the massive human ship. Its hull was black like obsidian, its surface patterned with faint blue lines that pulsed like veins of light. It hung above the planet's orbit, larger than any structure they had ever built, a silent monument to human engineering. As they approached, the warship opened a circular bay door with smooth precision. No weapons aimed at them, no alarm sounded. The transport slipped inside, and the bay closed behind them with a quiet hum. Gravity shifted gently under their feet. Inside, the ship was vast and clean. Soft white light glowed from the walls. Panels shifted to display information in languages Mira had taught it to use. The envoys looked around in awe. This was not a war machine in the crude sense they had imagined. It was more like a floating city, full of hidden intelligence. Mira walked ahead confidently, her boots echoing on the polished floor. "This is the main docking hall," she explained. "From here we can go to the control core. You will see that the systems respond to voice commands but remain locked without my codes." Rin glanced at the rows of dormant drones lining the walls. Each looked capable of great destruction, yet none moved. He felt a chill and an odd respect at the same time. "Your people built this with their hands?" he asked quietly. "With their minds," Mira answered, "and with their fears. Humanity knew the galaxy was not always kind. They built a guardian that could travel alone if needed, carrying their hopes for peace but ready to defend if threatened." The envoys exchanged glances. For the first time, they began to see the warship as something more than a weapon. It was a symbol of survival. They reached the control core, a circular chamber with a raised platform in the center. Around it floated transparent screens showing maps of the system, energy flows, and real-time data. Mira stepped onto the platform. "Ship," she said softly. "Display non-threat status." The screen shifted. Each envoy's world appeared in green. Lines of text scrolled, confirming no hostile action registered. The ship's voice, calm and neutral, spoke in the common tongue. "Welcome, authorized guests. No aggression detected. Defensive posture only." The envoy stared. The insectoid envoy tilted its head. "It speaks," it whispered. The Waterworld envoy touched a screen with trembling fingers. "It knows our worlds." Mira looked at them all. "This ship is not here to rule you. It is here because something is coming. My people sent it as a warning and as a shield. But it cannot be a shield without trust." Rin's eyes narrowed. "Something coming? You mean another threat?" "Yes," Mira said. "A force beyond even this ship's power. Humans detected signs of it at the edge of known space. That is why they sent me and why the warship came alone. We cannot face it divided." Silence filled the chamber. The envoys felt the weight of her words. Fear mingled with a strange hope. If humans, once feared as dangerous, were now offering alliance, perhaps survival depended on accepting it. Rin finally spoke. "If what you say is true, then we cannot waste time in mistrust. Show us how to prepare," Mira nodded. "Together we can make a stand. Alone, none of us will survive." The warship's lights brightened slightly as if echoing her promise. For the first time since it entered the system, the alien leaders felt not only dread but also a glimmer of respect, and a chance for unity. The Concord system had never seen so much tension in one place. Outside the moon Ilthar 5b, the black warship hovered like a shadow above the clouds. Its sensors scanned the surface, mapping every hidden structure. Inside the orbital station, Mira and Commander Rin watched the readouts with growing unease. The Council had finally ordered a fleet to intercept the vessel if it approached the restricted sector. A dozen Concord cruisers bristling with energy weapons moved into formation near the moon. Mira knew that if the warship engaged, the outcome could be catastrophic. Yet she also knew it would not attack unless provoked. Rin's voice broke the tense silence. Do they really expect these cruisers to stop that thing? Mira shook her head. Not physically, but they are counting on fear and confusion to slow it down. Outside, the warship moved carefully, its hull glowing faintly. It was not aggressive. Its path followed the coordinates of the secret laboratories beneath the moon's surface. It moved as if guided by knowledge far older than the Concord itself. The first Concord cruiser stepped forward. Its energy weapons powered up and its shields flared. The pilot's voice was firm but nervous. All units target the ship. Warn it again. Do not let it breach the sector. Mira pressed her hand to her console. Stop, it will respond. You do not understand. Commander Dan is not here to fight. Rin turned sharply. Do you have proof? Mira shook her head. No, but trust me. He will disable your systems without hurting anyone if you try to attack. The lead cruiser fired a warning shot, a pulse of energy aimed near the warship's side. The effect was immediate. The warship's shields glowed brighter. The energy dissipated harmlessly. Then slowly the cruiser's systems began to shut down one by one. Engines stopped. Weapons powered down. Each ship drifted, immobile yet unharmed. Gasps filled the command hall. Officers stared at the screens, unable to move. Mira leaned forward. It is disabling them, not destroying them. He wants to show power, not violence. Raoul, standing near the back, spoke quietly. If we continue, we risk total humiliation. And yet the Council demands it, Mira turned to him. Then show them the truth. Show them what the warship is doing. She tapped a command. The images of the disabled cruisers floating harmlessly in orbit streamed to every station and outpost in the system. Across the system, officers and civilians alike watched. The human warship was unstoppable, but it was not cruel. The message was clear. I will not harm unless provoked, but I will not be stopped by lies or fear. Raoul exhaled slowly. Perhaps we underestimated them. Perhaps we underestimated humanity. Mira nodded. They are not only strong, they are principled. That is what makes them dangerous and inspiring. A voice came from the warship's speakers. Calm, clear, and deliberate. Concord Fleet, this is Commander Dan. Stand down. Your people are not the enemy. Those hidden in the laboratories are my concern. Allow me to rescue them. You will not be harmed if you comply. The words echoed in the hall. Some officers were angry. Some were shocked. Some were relieved. Mira felt a shiver of awe. One human, one ship, and yet the weight of centuries seemed to rest on his shoulders. Rin spoke into his communicator. All units, hold position. Do not fire, observe. The fleet slowly complied. Engines hummed quietly. Weapons powered down. The tension remained, but the threat of immediate destruction had vanished. Inside the warship, Mira walked beside Commander Dan as he explained his plans. These laboratories hold humans and alien allies taken without consent, he said. I will free them, but only if the Conquered does not interfere. I am not here to punish, only to rescue. Mira nodded. You are asking for trust. Dan's expression was calm. Yes, trust that I will not harm the innocent. Trust that humanity is not defined by its weapons, but by its choices. The warship system scanned the moon. Images of hidden corridors, secured cells, and advanced energy locks appeared on the screens. Mira felt a surge of determination. We need to show the Council, she said. They need to see this for themselves. Rin turned to her. Do you think they will? I do not know, she admitted. But if they do not, I know the warship will act alone. And we will all see what humans are capable of. Outside, the arc spear hovered silently over the moon. Its massive form blocked the light from the planet below, a living testament to human engineering and willpower. Its shield shimmered like a gentle wave, protecting it from attack. Inside the command hall, Mira and the envoys prepared for the first direct transmission to the Council. Evidence, images, and live feeds showed the laboratories, the prisoners, and the warship's restraint. Across every station in the system, officers began to whisper. Humanity had returned, and it had done so with purpose, intelligence, and mercy. Ral placed a hand on Mira's shoulder. You were right. They are more than a threat. They are a lesson. Mira looked out at the black warship above the clouds. It had entered the system unauthorized and unstoppable, but it was not here to conquer. It was here to save. And in that realization, every mind in the command hall felt the weight of a new truth. Humanity could be unstoppable, but it could also be noble, disciplined, and wise. The Arcspear's lights pulsed once as if acknowledging their understanding. Outside, the conquered fleet hovered, powerless to stop it, yet no longer afraid. The first chapter of a new alliance or a new challenge had begun. The moon Ilthar 5b lay quiet beneath the massive black silhouette of the human warship. Its presence alone caused the Concord fleet to hesitate. Pilots in their sleek ships hovered silently, unsure of what would happen next. Mira stood on the observation deck inside the Arcspear, watching the moon's surface and the hidden laboratories. Her heart beat fast, but she felt calm in the presence of Commander Dan. Dan's eyes were steady as he spoke. We move carefully. No one will be harmed. Everyone who is trapped will be freed. Mira nodded. The Council has agreed to stand down? Yes, for now. They understand what is happening. They have seen the evidence. Outside, the warship lowered its approach toward the moon. Its gravity stabilizers engaged and its landing field formed near the largest hidden laboratory. The shields remained up, creating a protective dome over the landing site. Conquered fleet ships kept their distance, engines humming quietly but their weapons idle. Inside the Arcspear, Mira, Dan, and a small team prepared the rescue. The ship's automated drones scanned the buildings below, detecting energy locks, barriers, and living quarters. Prisoners, both humans and alien allies, were discovered hiding in cells or behind reinforced walls. Many had been kept for decades unaware that help was coming. Mira's chest tightened as she watched their faces on the scanners. Fear, confusion, and hope mixed together. They will not believe their eyes, she said softly. Dan smiled slightly. They will learn that some humans keep their promises. That is more important than anything else. The warship opened transport bays. Smaller shuttle pods were ready to descend. Each carried prisoners back to the Arcspear safely. The drones guided them, disabling locks and ensuring no harm came to anyone. On the surface, the prisoners saw a black shadow descend from the sky. At first, they thought it was another threat. Then they saw humans and alien allies guiding them. Finally, the words appeared on a screen in every cell. You are free. Follow the guides. Gasps and cries of relief echoed through the moon. Families were reunited. Scientists who had worked under coercion were now safe. Children and elders alike were led onto the shuttles. The Arcspear received each group without haste, without judgment, and without delay. Back on the observation deck, Mira watched the flow of rescued people. Her eyes filled with quiet pride. This is more than a ship, she said. It is hope, Dan's voice answered from the main console. It is what humans can be at their best. Unstoppable when protecting the innocent, precise when doing the right thing. Outside, the conquered fleet observed. Their fear had transformed into awe. For decades, humans had been regarded as unpredictable and dangerous. Now every officer understood a truth that no report could fully convey. Humans combined ingenuity, strength, and principle in a way no other species had achieved. Ral, standing beside Mira, said quietly, We were ready to fight, and yet we witnessed something greater than any weapon. Yes, Mira replied. They are not just strong. They are just. As the last group of prisoners boarded the Arcspear, Dan activated the ship's stealth navigation. Slowly, silently, the warship lifted off. Its engines made no sound, yet the energy lines on the hull glowed brighter. The Arcspear did not need to destroy to command respect. Its presence alone declared authority. Mira sent a final message to the Council. All prisoners accounted for. No casualties. The human warship departs peacefully. Let this be remembered. Across the system, screens displayed images of the rescued, the calm efficiency of the Arcspear, and the marvel of a ship that could move planets with ease but chose mercy instead. Citizens whispered in awe, realizing that one human and one ship could change the course of history. Dan addressed Mira privately. "This is not the end," he said. "The galaxy has dangers, but it is also full of those willing to help. We must be ready to guide and protect when needed. That is why I came." Mira nodded. "And we will remember this lesson. Power with honor is stronger than fear." The arc spear rose above the system, its path traced through the stars, leaving behind the moon, the conquered fleet, and a system forever changed. Its shadow passed over cities and planets, silent and awe-inspiring. Even those who had feared humans felt a deep respect. Before jumping to faster-than-light travel, Dan's voice came over all channels one last time. "Let no one forget that strength alone is not victory. Courage, principle, and mercy define humanity. Protect what is right. Protect the innocent. That is the legacy of our species." Mira watched the ship disappear into the starfield. A quiet pride filled her. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. Now the system understood. Humans could be unstoppable, not because of war, but because of their will to do what is right. Ral turned to her. "Do you think they will return?" "They always do," Mira said. "When the galaxy needs them most." The conquered fleet lowered their shields. The system exhaled a collective sigh. Life would continue, but a new chapter had begun. Humanity had returned, not as conquerors, but as protectors. A single warship, a single commander, and one human observer had changed the hearts and minds of an entire system. The stars above Ilthar 5b seemed brighter that night, reflecting the hope of civilizations that now knew the true strength of humanity. The galaxy had seen the return of a legend, and the echo of its lesson would last for generations. Courage, honor, and mercy could be more unstoppable than any weapon. Mira smiled. She knew she had witnessed history, the moment when humans reminded the galaxy that their greatest power was not in destruction, but in their choices. And for the first time in her career, she felt completely certain of the saying whispered among scholars: humanity was indeed unstoppable. The arc spear vanished into the dark beyond, leaving a system changed forever, and a galaxy slowly learning to respect the force that humans could be when they acted for good.